So we're going to talk about delaying or deferring gratification. And I don't really have a whole lot of verses except deny yourself, pick up your cross and follow me, which is something that Christ said. But we're going to dive into the benefits of delaying what you want now in order to obtain something better in the future, otherwise known as patience. Now, a lot of this might come across as a truism or maybe some old world wisdom, but all of this plays relevant today. And one reason this might be of value to you is if you're in a spot of your life where you seem like no matter how much you invest, no matter how much you do, you're always coming up short. A study that is really popular and it's mentioned in every self-development book has to do with the marshmallow experiment, in which a couple of scientists or researchers, as you want to call it, gathered a bunch of kids for an experiment. And in this said experiment, what they did is they took a kid and placed the marshmallow before him, and they said, "Hey, if you can defer gratification, or if you could just hold out for this X amount of time, I will get you another marshmallow." And so as the experiment went on, kids would immediately engorge themselves with the marshmallow, and others would wait because they knew if they waited long enough, they'd get the second marshmallow. Of course, all this tells us is there was kids that deferred gratification for 2 marshmallows and others that went with their gut. And as the tale goes, they went on to continually follow these kids, and they found that the ones that were able to defer gratification scored higher SAT scores than the ones that didn't. And at this point, you could be thinking, what does this have to do with me? I'm the type of kid that would go with his gut and go for the marshmallow. I don't see the value if life's too short to go for the delayed response or reward. So I'm going to go my spur. And the thing is, this is a tale of sacrifice, resilience, resolution, and also the impact of what your home life has, or what kind of effect it has for you for the rest of your life. So this is kind of a moment for you to reevaluate and really kind of focus on your instincts, or not your instincts, but just how you kind of react to your environment and how you react to opportunity and potential. Now, first, I'd like to establish the abundance versus scarcity mindset, in the sense that if you were the kid that probably would have eaten the first marshmallow, you probably came from a very scarce environment, and it's not your fault. It's just the arena that you were brought up in, compared to the abundance where, hey, I know that's one good marshmallow, but if I really wanted to make this work, I could get 2 marshmallows. And that's something that has to do with your parents' upbringing. They're the ones that put you in this kind of mindset. Now, a lot of the argument against this can lead up to how you see opportunity and how you see a potential. Because potential and opportunity sit on and rely on the individual that's observing and how he sees the world and how he sees what is valuable and what it actually means to get an opportunity. And that's a whole nother discussion and argument. My premise is a strategy that you could apply to all things, regardless of your values and what you see as opportunity. So let's take a mental wormhole hop, and let's think about this. One of the biggest things that people are trying to argue against and argue for is whether or not we're like animals. And our psyche, what characteristics separates us from the animals? One of them is how we interpret time and our current state in the future, where we are able to actually think about the future and make these evaluations and build a life and set a strategy for the future, compared to animals which just go with their innate or their gut or their instincts. Of course, animals are just there to reproduce and continue their existence in the gene pool. I believe that mankind is more dynamic, and we have more to strive for, more to live for than just replication of our DNA. It's like in the sense that if you ever meet a really cute couple and they're just so loving and so inspirational and they can't have kids, do you really deem them worthless because they can't reproduce? And this could immediately go to like a relative altruistic argument. But the idea is, I think we're more than just impulses, and that's where you get the evidence from the marshmallow experiment. It's so much beauty that we can access so many minds and so much information in this day and age, from a textbook to a text to a video on YouTube. It's endless. But right now, it seems that whatever you do, you're always coming up short. and you're always lacking a strategy. But I bet if you really evaluate, you think about all the things you wish you had and all the abilities, all the relationships and status, and it comes down to one thing, and it was you were unable to commit. Someone taught you when it was appropriate to drop off, but reality is it wasn't the right moment. Someone told you, hey, life's too short, take the first marshmallow, when in reality you wanted the second marshmallow. And what the second marshmallow took was patience and resilience, and just conceptualizing that and thinking about it. Sometimes glory hits people without them earning it. And sometimes those are your role models, and those are the people before you, and those are the people that you exemplify. And it's difficult because you might not have those same shortcuts or that same grace, and so you have to try a different strategy and a different blueprint or path. You wanted to make it work this time, but you couldn't hold out. You couldn't trust her. She was probably cheating. Or you wanted to graduate. You wanted to become a mechanic. But like, man, I can't handle it. It's too much. I just don't have enough time. Take another look at that crossroads. Was that really the best choice? Was that really the path you wanted to take? And think about the other path. If you would have stayed on the straight and narrow, how would it look today? Would you have her? Would you be working on vehicles? Would you be dancing? The strategy of the second marshmallow is this. Keep your eyes on the prize. Affirm it. Declare it. I'm going to get the second one. It's going to happen this time, and it's reality. I'm not going to feel the same way because your demons are going to come back. And let me tell you something. What separates us from animals is our contract and our covenant with time. We could see into the future, and we could act as if it already existed. That's the beauty of it. Learn to sacrifice the part to preserve the whole. The marshmallow is delicious. You want to savor it, but learn how to sacrifice that instant gratification for future gratification, which is a reality where we have two marshmallows. Be like a lizard that sacrifices his appendage to preserve himself. It's hard to name a single thing in this reality that isn't worth a lot of value, that didn't take a lot of time to make. Whether it be complex movement watches, pieces of jewelry, instruments. I mean, I'm just going from my perspective, which instruments, I mean, they take a lot to make, take a lot of hands-on and a lot of attention to detail. And I wouldn't pay an extravagant price for anything that's below that. I mean, they're worth the price. And part of this can also contribute to self-respect, which we can get to in another video. But when we look at people that have tasted the high value, they never go back. They don't think of anything less. They don't settle for less in their life. Like, no, each time I'm in this situation, I'm going to go for the two marshmallows. And at the moment of what I talked about the high value instrument, I'm sure that you thought about moments in your life where you wish you would have waited and held out. And it replays again and again and again in the back of your mind, and you don't know how to handle it. But all of this is ultimately up to you. Whether you decide that tomorrow's a new day, that each new thought is a new opportunity, or it isn't. That's not my choice. The weight's on you. And you decide when it's worth it. Visualize the opportunity. Visualize a reality where you and her end up together, or you're working on that jet engine. And don't settle for anything else. Don't let anything else come into play. Don't let your demons tell you what's valuable. You tell yourself what's valuable and stick to it. And as always, please like, share, comment, sub. Love you guys. Hold out. Ciao.
How do you know that? I know they have boxing matches there. That's pretty cool.
What's it called?
Barenderos.
Because, dude, a brown princess that'd be it.
What do you mean, where to meet Mexico? What do you mean? Like bars?
No. Like, all of my friends are white.